encourage, motivate, inspire. You're watching Journey with James TV.
Okay.
Pretty chill. Messing with James all day.
Yeah. I'm surprised you ain't messed him up yet, man. Because I know he deserved it.
Well, here you go. Here you go, playing victim.
Look, that's how he do, man.
Hold on. First of all, how did my name even get in this? That's the thing. He asks you a question and then my name gets inserted. That's the problem. But I'm the victim.
Never mind, James.
Let's get the show started. Cause see, y'all starting up already. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Locked In. I am James, of course. I'm James. I am so glad to be here again. What I will tell you, you may see a little different layout here today because everybody's not here. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the first show that sometimes all the fellas can't get together, but I do have other friends that can join us at times. And so I want to introduce you real quick to our guest co-host tonight. None other than Ira. You may have seen him a couple of times on some of my shows. I've interviewed him. I've talked to him. He's been on Journey with James show a few times, I think. He's talked about his music. But I want you to meet him. Spees is his nickname. Not his nickname, but his actual name, rap name. Give us a little bit about yourself, man. Just a little quick.
I didn't know I was a co-host today, but yeah. I would have took over the show if I knew I was a co-host.
Here we go. Starting already. Tell people a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me. Well, I grew up in Chicago, moved to Houston a little bit in my life, and now I'm in Virginia. I love to do music. I love video games. I'm a tech geek, and so I work in IT. And yeah, man, just a free spirit out here. I love the Lord. I always got to say that, but just a free spirit out here, just trying to do some good work for the Lord.
Well, look at you doing some work for the Lord.
Yeah.
What's up, Q?
Hey, man, what's going on? How is everything going, man? I'm doing great, and I want to know how you doing. And I don't need a whole long story. Just say I'm doing good.
Okay, well, I'm doing good too. I'm gonna just say this. And you know what? I think we're gonna start our mental health check now. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and do the animation because I got something to say. I want somebody to say something about my music. I will say this: it has been a busy day. I didn't realize how busy it was gonna be today. I mean, I had 3 meetings just tonight. And so, we're taping tonight. We'll be airing in April 1st, of course. But it's just been a hectic day for me. Anybody can relate?
Absolutely. My day today was just, it was a smooth day. I mean, obviously you guys live here in the area, so the weather today was probably some of the worst weather we've had in a long time. Just cold, pouring down rain all day long. It was just one of them days you just wanted to stay home. But I'm over at the gym and my day was pretty calm, pretty chill, relaxed. I had some clients to work with, and then it just hit a point. It just went crazy, and I started bouncing from client to client. I had a couple classes that stacked up against each other that the timing was off on our app, so some people thought it was earlier than what it was. Some people thought that it was later than what it was. So I had to navigate that situation. I have my kids that are here, but we didn't have a babysitter for tonight. So having to navigate getting them fed and having to put them to bed in a little bit. Also getting dinner prepared and trying to prep for a 6 a.m. class in the morning. So it went from very calm and chill and relaxed to just everything. I feel like the episode of SpongeBob where they were, I think the Krusty Krab was on fire and everybody was running around like crazy. That's what I feel like right now.
Right. That's how I feel too. And I will say this, like for me mentally, it's exhausting, but I'm learning. Like I'm proud of myself and how I handled today, because like yourself, I had a lot going on, things happening out of the blue. And you know what? I now think about it. It's the rain. It's this rain that we got out here. It's crazy. But I'm encouraged. I got through it. This is my last thing of the night before I can actually relax. So, not Q, but Ira, you're the one that seems to be all chill, and we're the one that's been stressed all day, and you're the one that seems to be chill.
I don't know, man. I'm a laid back person, so I wouldn't say I had an easier day, but I got to work, and what's cool is there's a couple of issues that I've been having for months now, and I was able to kind of work through them with, in a tech space where everybody converting to Windows 11, especially different departments in the organization. It's like it could be hectic one week and then cool the next week. So this has been one of the cooler weeks. So I've been able to catch up on some work. So that's good. But, having 3 kids is always something to do. And then I'm also running a few YouTube channels of startups. So I'm always creating content for them when I have ideas and when I have space in between my day. So my days are always busy. I'm always finding something to do. So yeah, but it's been a chill day because there's been a few things that's been kind of been long that I got accomplished today. So
Man, I was doing a lot while you were talking. It's just crazy. My computer was about to die as well. Just it's crazy.
I'm not helping. I ain't helping.
Oh yeah, that's right. I need your help, Ira. My God,
restart it.
No, I don't want to restart it. I'm like, what the world? So I was like running around with my head. Running around with my head. Like, what am I trying to say? I'm running around with my chicken. What are you saying?
With his head. You running
around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Pause.
There's a lot going on. God darn. You know what? It's a lot going on. But you know what? Like with the fellas, Eric and Damien, who couldn't make it, they had some busy schedules today as well. We had previously had another day schedule and we had to cancel it. So I'm just glad everybody's here. We're going to get into some other things right now, especially the news that's going on right now. There's a lot of talk about things dealing with sexual stuff and violence and children, and it's just a lot. So we're going to get into that right now. So before we get to that, I want to just say we're praying for all the victims in the Maryland tragedy that happened the other day. I know you guys have probably seen the video. Like,
yeah,
crazy how quick that bridge collapsed because of that cargo ship. Anything you want to say about that?
I guess it's one of those things like you never think that it could happen. As you commute across these bridges, I know in Virginia we do a lot, and so you never think that could happen, man. But just kind of looking at that video and kind of reflecting, like we got bridges or whatever that go underwater, so you start to kind of think about those things. But definitely thoughts and prayers are with them, because just imagine you're driving and all of a sudden a bridge collapses and you're down in the water. I mean, what's the first plan of action to even deal with that? That's something that we don't even think about during the day.
Mm-hmm. You're exactly right, man. I know when I saw it, it kind of triggered me a little bit, like just to see that, and it kind of made me like, okay, that could happen to us. That could happen to anybody. And how quick it happened. Like it was just so quick. Apparently, the lights flickered and cut off before one time, and then it came back on. And then by the second time, I guess they couldn't do what they needed to do to get it away from that part that holds up the structure that holds up the bridge, and it's crazy how it just hit that quick. And it just makes me, for me, it made me think about life. The more, I mean, over the last few months, there's been a lot of deaths, first of all. I mean, deaths from natural causes, from suicides, just a lot of stuff been going on. And then when you see something like that, I have been thinking about that a lot. Like death, it can happen at any time. And so for me, it just kind of made me sad. I will be honest, it made me sad to see it. And of course, working in news, that's all you're going to see. We got to talk about it. We got to discuss it. But for me, it just made me sad inside because, like, man, you could be here today and gone tomorrow. And I think it's so important that we live our best life while we can, do the best we can. Like today is a hectic day for me and Q, but we're still here and we're still breathing. So we have a chance, and prayerfully, we'll be here tomorrow to start it all over again, and there will be better days. But there's some people that won't get those better days because their life was taken just like that. So my prayers are with the families. And it's crazy because I've also heard things about some of the African-American politicians as a part of the Baltimore, the governor and the mayor, some negative things. Have you guys heard anything on social media about that?
Nah. I haven't heard anything about that specific thing. No.
Yeah. So it is. I'm trying to see if I can find some of it. Someone was trying to take apart when the mayor, I'm not sure exactly what he said, but he was basically saying we need to concentrate on the casualties and different things, that finding the people. Okay. So some people picked that apart and they were saying little things that were not so nice. And then one reporter, I think at WJZ, had posted something on Twitter. It was a response from a neighbor that's near that area. And they were talking about, they were focused on the distribution, cargo going in, material, all that kind of stuff. They wasn't really focused on the people. And they were saying, well, it was immature for him to post that. And it's just a lot of craziness. In my opinion, it's news. News got to post what they need to post, and that's their job. I don't think it was something that was a personal thing. It was just that he posted what was said. But the fact that they're honing on this and the mayor and governor just trying to find different things to say, I think it's just a little bit ridiculous. Yeah. Like, come on,
Yeah, that's crazy because I haven't heard about the governor saying anything, but
I think just the mayor.
Okay, I know I saw something with the mayor, and the news reporter had asked him how long he thought it would take to get the bridge built back up and all this other stuff, and his response, the mayor's response was, right now, the focus shouldn't be how long it's going to take us to get the bridge on. The focus should be the people. And I think it was, he said, I'm not quoting him because, I'm probably misspeaking a little bit, but I do know he said the focus shouldn't be on the bridge or anything. It should be on the people that were losing loved ones and that were injured and stuff like that. I actually think he said there are people in the water that we need to be looking for. That's my priority. And we could talk about this bridge stuff later. He said something along those lines. So I'm not sure what, social media, you know how social media is, man. They take a 5-second clip out of a 1 hour news conference or something like that, and that goes out, and now you got 3 million views on this little 5 seconds, and there's no context to it. You don't know what came before it, what followed it, none of that. And so I think it's a bad look on whoever posted it or whoever's commented on it's a bad look, because from what I saw, the footage that I saw, he addressed a really good response. And for him to be, I know he's a young guy. I can't remember exactly how old he is, but I know he's a young guy. I think he handled that rather well.
Absolutely. You said it real. You said it well in a nutshell. That's what it's got to be, All right. Well, we're going to pivot to another sad situation. P. Diddy. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. How many names did he have?
Take that.
Brother love.
It's all about the Benjamins, baby. All the songs, man. Things that we listen to as younger kids and teenagers. But what was it? P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. Wasn't another one? Diddy. Just Diddy.
Love.
Brother Love.
Love. I forgot about that one.
Man, what else? I'm sure we missing something.
Love ain't being good to him right now, I can tell you that. Because, brother, y'all heard the news that, matter of fact, let me just play the video so we can get, so for those who don't know or need a refresher, can catch up on what's been going on.
Micah Ullman.
And I'm Cher Calvin. Rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs is at the center of a federal investigation tonight into alleged sexual assaults and sex trafficking.
2 of his lavish mansions were raided by Homeland Security agents as the probe is widening. One of the homes is located on South Mapleton Drive in Holmby Hills. Sky 5 was over the scene as agents were in and out of the home all day long. Combs was not at home at the time of the raid and is said to be in Miami.
All of this a stunning development for Combs, who denies all of the allegations.
The raids reportedly have to do with a federal probe out of New York involving possible sex trafficking and sexual assault, among other allegations related to 54-year-old Combs. Earlier today, Homeland Security investigators out of New York confirmed law enforcement actions were taken as part of an ongoing investigation with the help of agents in LA and Miami.
I'm going to ask one question from you guys, and this is just your opinion. Do you think there's any truth to this?
Yeah.
That's a loaded question, man.
It's a loaded question, but I wanted to know what you thought, and then why do you think that?
You go ahead, Ira. I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Okay. Well, I guess coming from a person who, Puff Daddy was one of my music idols growing up. Of course, the whole Bad Boy, clique with, all the artists that he had on there, and he was part of that camp. And so it's kind of like to see this happening is kind of like you have to sit back and kind of process it. But then you start backtracking in your mind on all of the suspect stuff that he was saying, what was going on, like calling men daddy. Now that's a term in New York that they use, but I'm like, all right, it just takes a whole different, term now. But my biggest question, and I hate to jump right into this, but my biggest question is how is this coming out? Like, why is it coming out right now? I always feel like there's people at the top that something's going on with them, and they just kind of from the R. Kellys to the Bill Cosbys, and they are all done heinous things, hideous things. But I always think that in entertainment, they find out your vice and they exploit it, and then when your time is up, when you make the wrong person mad, or when you tell the wrong person something, then it's gonna come down on you because you're the bottom feeder. So I think it's more to it than what we are gonna ever see. Just similar to the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. That's my thoughts on it. So
I guess the question is, do you think it's some kind of conspiracy? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. No, I'm not one of those who always advocate for conspiracies, but I always think it's a little truth to them. But it's kind of like hidden in plain sight type of thing, where it gets out and all of a sudden this person offs himself, and so will Diddy be the next person that end up dead from what he knows and what he's been involved in and the names that he does know? But yeah, I think honestly they knew that he was keeping footage, and they went in there to get it. That's my conspiracy theorist type, because they said he had cameras in every room, so he was catching all of the acts that they were doing in every room, and had information on every entertainers, athletes, politicians. You name it, he has a video footage on him. So I think they were going in there to get it. Take that. They was going in there to take that.
Take that.
That's actually a I hadn't thought of it that way, but I similarly to you, Ira, I do think that it's a distraction for something else. Like I think that there is something else that's happening, and this, with all the coverage and media and news and everything that this is getting, there is something else that's going on that we're being distracted from. So I definitely believe that. It's an interesting concept that you have, or interesting thought that you have with it. You know, like him having things on other people, and him being, you know, when you think about levels of Hollywood, and him being on not that high of a level, and him having stuff like that, that's interesting to me. Like, I'm intrigued by that now. Yeah. But to do I think he has something going on? Yes. And I say that just because of all of the years, man. At least, let me see, I'm 37 now. So
yes, I'm glad I got the age again. Go ahead.
Yeah. So probably the last 20 years you heard something about Diddy. Something. Yeah. That's true. And, you know, from him having something to do with Biggie getting shot to you know,
Tupac,
something happening with Mace and Loon and Craig Mack, and, you know, all these different people. So the whole thing that happened with Sean, like, so do I think there's something there? Absolutely. I just don't know to what degree.
I mean, you see how quick they paid Casey off. You know, she had, you know, had allegations or whatnot, and it's like the next day it was taken care of. But I may be exaggerating, but it was real quick. Yeah. So that kind of told me that something is not right. Something he's trying to hide. And we just don't know.
I think maybe, and this is a question I pose to you guys, is maybe when these entertainers are coming to the end of their road, this kind of stuff seems to happen. Like, P. Diddy isn't as marketable as he was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, with the Ciroc and just reinventing yourself to bring in money. But now you hear the stories about him being kicked out of that whole Ciroc group of, of whoever owned that name of the liquor. So you hear stories about that where he was just kind of pushed out, and like, all right, how are you marketable now? Like, you don't really have any play but for yourself. Like, you can generate money yourself and live off your wealth, but you're not relevant anymore. You know, he had Revolt TV, which Revolt TV has a Joe Budden podcast and a few minor podcasts, but other than that, besides the Ciroc liquor, like, I mean, he's not the public figure that he used to be, you know. And I think
that he sold the rest of his shares to Revolt as well, so he's no longer part of that either. Yeah. But it was to an anonymous buyer, which makes me think, was it someone in the family? His sons, perhaps?
Might be.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I know a lot of people. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot, but because I don't know how many people he know or whatever, obviously. But I have been seeing a lot of interviews coming out lately of different people that have been in his camp, whether it's been bodyguards or it's been friends or it's been former artists and things like that. They're coming out saying, like, yeah, like he into this type of stuff, and I seen him do this and I seen him do that. So, I mean,
remember Usher said something a few years ago. I don't know if y'all saw that. He said he's seen things that were interesting. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I seen that.
Oh no, I ain't see that.
It was how many years ago? It was like a few years ago. He was being interviewed by someone, and they asked about him visiting, and he said that he saw some things. There was some curious things that he saw that different. And I'm like,
it's so many conspiracies when it comes to Puff, from his wife Kim Porter, from Albie Shore, because Albie Shore was I think Kim Porter was writing a tell-all book about the stuff, and she ended up dead. Sorry, I don't know if you're supposed to say that on YouTube, but
unlived. She was unlived.
Unalive. There you go.
I think it is.
And then Albie Shore was, I think, helping her in some aspect because I think he married her after Puff or something like that, and he had a devastating situation where he should have died from, but he didn't die from. You got your Biggies, you got your Tupac. It's just so many rumors of unaliving that's been around his name, man. And so this stuff is catching up with him, as the word say, what's in the dark shall come to light. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Another question that I was listening to something today is these people who have excess of excess, you know. So for example, you know, Puff had everything, any girl, any car, any whatever. Now we come into the X trafficking and the child trafficking as well. And these seems like these wealthy people, they have access to excess and they're never fulfilled with what they have. They just want more and more and more. And that could be the window into the children's situation, you know, taking innocence and stuff like that. So sorry, I'm going down the rabbit hole. So
we want this. That's the thing. We're free to talk the way we want to talk. We need to bring all this stuff up because at the end of the day, we really don't know what it is or what happened. But I mean, sometimes we put two and two together and you know, we can take it for what it is. But I think we need to hear everybody's perspective because it's crazy. It's crazy out here. And it's sad that they are sacrificing children, sex trafficking. And let me be clear, sex trafficking is not just kids. It can be a grown adult, grown man. It can be all that. You can take someone out of their will and make them do stuff sexually. That's sex trafficking, you know, got the pimp, whatever. I don't know how it even go. But all I know is wrong. And I think that, you know, like you said, was the dark will come to light and what goes around comes, karma will come back at you or whatever. But it's interesting you said something about Kim Porter and a book. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The book never came out?
No, at the time that she passed, she was writing the tell-all book. And she ended up, and these are like healthy people. These aren't people with drug problems. I mean, I'll be sure might have had, you know, minor problems, but these are healthy people and they just drop off the face of the earth. And this is, I'm not pointing directly to the P. Diddy situation. This stuff happens in all these people that are in these conspiracies, your government, you know, people, the Jeffrey Epstein situation. These are people like healthy people, just, oh, he had a stroke. Oh, this and that. So it's my problem is that I don't know if, you know, the FBI and the CIA people are even in on this. So we get here, we get the arrest, but we don't ever get to, okay, who was he working for? We get the P. Diddy, and it just seems to always stop there. It never goes up. It might trickle down, but it never goes up.
That's a good perspective. And I'm starting to see a pattern here, though. Like when people are like, what you're saying is true. Like I think about in politics, like when people are running for office, if they don't really like you, there's always somebody had an affair. Yeah. It's always the same scenario. And I'm like, well, how in the world? And then these people come out of the woodwork that said there was abuse and things like that. And I will not, if that's the case, that's the case. But you have to wonder, could it actually be some paid people doing that stuff that on the higher ups? We don't know. And I'm not saying nobody who actually came forward or, you know, I'm not saying that, but you have to wonder because it seems to be the same pattern when they're trying to get rid of some people. Or like you say, they passed away. They were completely healthy and they're gone. Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, and the CIA and the FBI have been a part of conspiracies from Martin Luther King's passing to Robert, Kennedy's passing. So what makes us think that all of a sudden they don't really do these kind of things anymore? So,
Ooh, man.
and it's came out as public knowledge that they've been a part of those.
You're exactly right.
So,
Isn't something supposed to be released? Some file or something supposed to be released for Dr. Martin Luther King in the next few years? Something that was closed?
probably so. I wouldn't.
I
doubt
believe
it.
I saw some. There's some other things that's going to come out from the government or whatever. But that's interesting. I've read it somewhere, and it may be this year, maybe next year. I'm not sure, and I may be wrong. Who knows? But I know I heard it. But it's interesting. So, do you think this is okay? Do you think more of this is going to come out? We got P. Diddy. Now we know that some people's names are in those documents. The people that are, the guy that's actually taking suing. Their names mentioned like TD Jakes, but let's be clear with the TD Jakes, it wasn't necessarily saying that he was a part of it. If I'm not mistaken, it was just saying that he was using him as the image. I don't know, but I did see that it didn't particularly say anything that he did. That's what I remember.
I did, yeah.
Even though
I haven't read much about TD Jakes so far. I like I said, I haven't been able to catch up completely on it.
Yeah,
but I think it's gonna be some other names that are linear to his success, like maybe a Jay-Z, because there's been rumors for years of Jay-Z doing shady stuff too. Like all of these guys, like I say, they find out what your vice is, and once they got you, they got you. And when I say them, is in the biblical terms, the powers and principalities that are above all of these situations.
Ephesians 6 is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Ephesians 6.
They find out what your vice is, and it like these. It's not flesh and blood, but it's just principles, powerful people, powerful structures that are put in place to where they find out what your vice is and they exploit it. And by the grace of God, I've been in the music entertainment, and I've gotten pretty far on my own, but I never was in a position or around a famous person like a Puff Daddy. That where I had the talent, but I just wasn't in the right place at the right time. But then you go back and you think, what did these people do to get in these places? And I think some more entertainers and stuff are going to be tied to Puff Daddy and some deeds that they did to get where they wanted to go, like a Justin Bieber or even Usher. Although I think they may be protected a little bit more because they kind of was in there. They seen what it was, and they kind of slowly separated from it.
I definitely, you saying that, yes, I agree with that because I see all of this garbage talent. I don't even know. Those don't even go together, garbage and talent. But I see all these garbage entertainers, whether from actors to musicians and all this other stuff that are crushing it, like making all this money, getting all these deals, doing all these different things. And I'm just like, how? But then you have other people that are like dope rappers and amazing actors and actresses and all this other stuff, and you don't hear nothing from them. So that does definitely pose the question of, all right, what did they do? There was something, 100% something they did in order to get to the position that they're in, but yet you got somebody else over here that is 1,000 times better and more talented that you don't hear nothing from. So I 100%, man. I'm with you on that one. I also think too, you saying it's going to lead to like a linear type thing. And one thing, when you said that, I thought about something. I thought about how like you get these people that are just like at the top of their game, like a Diddy or Jay-Z, Justin Bieber, Rihanna, Beyonce, like all these different people that are just like up there, Kanye. And then T.I., they they start to go quiet, and you don't really they're not involved in a whole lot. You don't see them doing a whole lot of interviews no more. They're not putting out no music. You know, it's just like, and that leads me to the thing like, like you were saying, like when your time is up, when the higher ups feel like, okay, you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like now what? Now what's happening? So I think about that a lot too, man. So it's interesting that you bring up those points because I think about it like that.
I think a person like an Andre 3000, like talented as all get out. And when you're a rapper of his caliber, you have pride and ego. You want to be talented. You want to be the best. But if somebody comes to you and say, okay, y'all have gotten this far, but in order to maintain this success, you're gonna have to do some things, right? If you foresee this stuff coming, if you hear whispers, if people tell you like, look, bro, you're gonna have to, go party with Diddy. You're gonna have to go party with Diddy if you want to keep this stature. And I think that's like my tinfoil hat theory is that a person like Andre 3000 would see this coming and would say, I don't want none of it. I'm gonna play dumb.
Yeah.
I can't rap. I don't know what
yeah, he gonna go grab his little
I'm gonna play a flute, play 2 notes on a flute. But for a person to be that talented, it takes a lot of pride, it takes a lot of ego, it takes a lot of effort to be as talented as he is. And he just walked away from it.
Yeah.
And I commend him. I used to be mad because he was my favorite rapper growing up. But I commend him from walking away before he got in too deep.
For sure. I mean, you got like you take 3 stacks, but then you got like somebody like Common or Ron Fest. You're from Chicago, so I know Ron Fest or Saha the Prince. Like these guys are just crazy dope rappers, but they like you said, they just walked away from things. And it's funny because like Cat Williams, he didn't in some of his comedy specials, especially his earlier ones, you hear him talking about him being in Hollywood and being at parties and him seeing crazy stuff. Eddie Griffin, same thing with him. Like he's been talking about it too. So like there's gotta be some truth to it. Like these guys ain't just saying it just to say it. Gotta be some truth to it.
Definitely.
My goodness. Well, speaking of that, more sexual allegations coming from. I want to ask this question. What was your favorite show on Nickelodeon when you were a kid?
Quinton and Kel. Does that count?
Yeah, I mean all that. Okay, I would say all that too. Well, take a look at this. I know you guys probably heard about it. I may even saw a documentary called Quiet on the Set on Max and on ID. I saw it, all 4 parts, and it was quite interesting. But I want, for you guys who haven't seen it, I want you to take a look.
In the early 90s, Nickelodeon was kid everything. And you better hope that your house had cable.
Wasn't there to educate you. We were there to have fun, to get slimed, to be entertained.
And this is when Dan Schneider arrives, Nickelodeon's golden boy. He created these shows that were hugely successful for them.
No one had ever really done sketch comedy starring kids for kids.
He launched the careers of child actors who became major stars.
For 20 years, he shaped children's entertainment and culture.
Thank you for being here.
Working for Dan was like being in an abusive relationship.
Dan's treatment of people on his shows was an open secret.
So my lawyer filed complaints, gender discrimination, hostile work environment, harassment, and it was so devastating.
How safe can any kids be in that environment?
Does that mess with your childhood? Does that bother you? Because I'm sure you guys have seen like All That and Keenan and Kel.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it changes. Like, I saw the first 3 episodes. I didn't see the 4th one yet, but I do know that if you saw, I think both of you said you've seen it already, but the whole potato thing with Ariana Grande, I remember seeing that episode. And I remember thinking, like, what in the world? Like, they got this girl playing stupid with this potato.
Mm-hmm.
But then going back and looking at the documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and then realizing what was going on as an adult now, I'm like, oh, okay. So it does definitely change the perspective of what was happening in a lot of these shows.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Almost like I want to watch it tonight, but then I'm like, man, this is gonna trip out my childhood because you know, we wanted to be them. You know, we wanted to be on Nickelodeon. We wanted to be these kids, and it's sad that they sacrificed their childhood. You know, sacrificed their mental, their mental health for the rest of their lives just for to make it to the top. And it always gives me a reminder that just being grateful for where I am in life. I have balance, and a lot of these entertainers and a lot of these kid actors, man, they'll never have that. Unfortunately, I pray that they will get to that. But it's just sad to see what they've gone through, from the Britney Spears to all of them. When you're growing up, you just see the hard work. I work hard to get here. I work hard, and true, they did. But when they got there, it was like fool's gold, because of course you have the money and resources in a lot of these cases, but then that's not everything. You still have to live. You still have to, as you grow older, just from the mindset of people not perceiving you as that same sweet, innocent person anymore. And then you have to grow old and be like a Macaulay Culkin, who can probably never land an acting gig or as high as Home Alone was, just in that. But then to have to think about them having, sex scandals like that on top of that, it's like, man, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, speaking of the sex scandal, that's another part of it, which gives you a little preview of the last episode that was quite shocking. And so the first three is kind of concentrated more on Dan Schneider, who was like the show creative on some of the shows, and he's a producer of a lot of the shows. So he ran a lot of stuff, and you can see that he was nasty. He was not only doing sexual innuendos or things or whatever, but he was also just nasty to people. And he apologized for his nastiness. He didn't say anything about the sexual stuff. He just, he apologized for his behavior, which is odd. Interesting. Trying to get in front of it. And then we have this part here. We'll take a look.
To hear that Brian Peck was a sexual predator, it made me wonder immediately about who was being hurt.
Who it is, when it happened, where it happened, I have no idea.
It wasn't dealing with anybody on the shows or anything, right?
So that's Drake, Jack. What is his name?
I think it's Drake Bell. I think.
Yeah, it's Drake Bell. That's the name, Drake Bell. So he had a show on Nickelodeon, but he was a part of another show, and then they made a show with him and another guy, as well. But that's scary. Like this other guy who wasn't a part of producing or whatever, but he was a part of the team, the production team. He's over there sexually harassing this guy for years, and his dad. A little bit of backstory. His dad was his manager, and his dad had already noticed in the beginning that something wasn't right with this guy, the way he was approaching his son and different things he did. He was like, I want you to stay away from him. Or he told the people, I don't want him around him. And it got so bad where the guy was able to change the mind of, I always get his name wrong, Drake. I don't know why I get his name wrong every single time. Drake Bell. I'm sorry. Drake Bell.
Yeah.
Drake Bell. I don't know why I want to say Jack, but anyway, they pretty much changed his mind, and then he let his father go, and then someone else took over, I believe his mom, and And that's when he got in, and he was able to. They say, what's the word they use? Prune, or kind of build them up to that point. Start off slow and then try to take something there, do something there, and then one day he was sexually messing with him while he was asleep, and it went from there. And it's like, man, these are children, young children, and so this affected his mind as a child. And he grew up as a childhood star. Now he has this with him, and it's just like, man, it's sad.
Definitely,
it's crazy because you look at like all these. I would probably say upwards of 80% of the Disney and Nickelodeon or any other network like child stars end up growing up being like something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Which again, that leads you to think like something is going on. It ain't just happening. Like something is going on in these rooms and in these studios, and like something is happening behind the scenes that's making these kids grow up and have drug issues, alcohol issues, mental health issues, whatever other issues you can think of. But something is happening that I think really needs to be looked at a whole lot more. I mean, again, you got this coming out. You got the Diddy thing coming out at the same time. There is something happening that they are distracting us from.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is happening is, and I don't know how much AI is going to take effect of all entertainment in general. I mean, I've seen what AI can do as far as music production, and I'm blown away by it. I'm seeing Sora.ai coming, which stopped Tyler Perry from adding an $800 million extension to his studio. So is AI coming for all entertainers, for all producers? Are we going to replace people like your Jay-Z's, Beyonce's, and top rappers and writers with just an AI image or something like that, to the effect where it cuts costs? Like if you got just an AI entity, you just generate her. You don't have to pay for her nails to get done, her hair to get done, her trips, her private flights. Like, is this what it's transitioning to? And let's get in front of all of these tragedies that's happened in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, because like you said earlier, Quinton, a lot of these rappers are just trash, and you wonder how they end up like what's his name? It's a rapper, Lil Durk. Like, for the sake of me, I don't understand why people like him. Like,
who is that?
He's like a prominent drill rapper out of Chicago, and
Chicago. There you go.
I cannot understand why people like him. Like, I don't know about y'all, but Kevin Hart, I feel like he is not funny at all. At all. I feel like he is not funny. Why is he in our face? Because I try so hard to look at Kevin Hart as a funny person. He's not funny. Like, Cat Williams versus a Kevin Hart is like oil and water. Like,
didn't Cat Williams say something about that? Didn't Cat Williams say something about Kevin Hart?
Yeah, he did on his Shannon Sharp interview, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's just another tinfoil hat theory I have. It's just AI may take over everything, and it may be a lot different because we cut a lot of costs. It's because as an artist, when somebody streams your music, you get a penny of a penny of a penny. There's no money to live off of, and a lot of these artists are living off of touring. They can't stop touring and merchandise. They're not living off of album sales anymore. And a lot of the labels, they back like 15 years ago, they did not take from merchandise and the show money they got. Now they're in these 360 deals where they take money from everything. So the only way these artists can live, these new artists, is if they tour. They don't own their publishing. And it's similar to me. I have that story too. When I started producing for Swisher House in Houston, I was young. I was 21, and I didn't really know about, the publishing and owning your masters and all of that. I didn't know. So the A&R Swisher House kind of took advantage of me not knowing and signed me to work for hire contracts. It's more money than I ever made in my life. But it's like now I don't see that residual pay. And a lot of these artists, especially the artists that come, from the hood, they don't know nothing but with that advance, but that advance is just a loan that you have to pay the label back. And I think AI coming for a lot of this entertainment space.
Ooh. Wow, man. Okay, so we have our last segment. We run out of time, so I want to go to our last segment. I'm just going to coincide with what we've been talking about. Okay, we've been talking about all this craziness that's been going on in the world. First, we had this the bridge collapse. Then we had the Diddy situation. Then we had Nickelodeon with the exposure, and just so much more. Then you talked about AI, and particularly taking over. And that's a scary. I told you I'm not for the AI stuff. Especially if they start walking, they have things walking around looking like us, talking about some high James. We're gonna have problems. I'm screaming, getting up out of here because I don't like that. Coming out washing my dishes and stuff. No, we're not doing that. So it's a scary thought, more so for our future kids, because they're going to deal with more of AI and advanced stuff than we are. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with music and acting. They can pretty much not pay people, AI can do it all, so that's so interesting. So our focus topic, we don't have to be long on this at all, is how do we find peace in such a hectic world?
Staying rooted in Jesus, man. Like, honestly, that's the number one thing for me. Just with everything going around, everything happening, even just down to the simplest thing of just having a hectic day and being crazy and everything going on around me, just staying rooted in my faith. That's, especially for a believer like the three of us, I mean, that's the number one thing, because we're always going to be seeking peace and water and food, these things. We're always going to be seeking them when Jesus provides it all. So I think it's just staying rooted there, man, staying rooted in God and being like, okay, taking it one day at a time. Okay, God, you gave me today. Help me handle today. And then when tomorrow comes, same prayer. Help me handle today, so forth and so on. That's me personally.
I mean, I think that's good. I'll piggyback on what you said. We just have to hold on to God in a nutshell. We have to hold on to his unchanging hands. We got to trust that he's going to protect us. You're going to trust that, it says in Ephesians 6 that we don't battle against flesh and blood, but by spiritual principalities. But we also know that we can be girded up with the breastplate of righteousness. We can, all the things that they talk about in Ephesians, we can be girded up and we can be prepared for what's to come. And so I don't think we should fear what's about to come or what's coming or what's here, but we should gird up our faith. So faith overtakes fear. So we have to trust him in every way possible. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm continuing to trust him and hopefully, continue to protect my family, my boys, my family, friends, loved ones, all that kind of stuff, because we are living in a hectic world and we need to protect our children. We need to protect our family from sexual situations that's going on in the world, violence and chaos and just all the manipulative stuff that's going on, even behind the scenes that people probably have no idea about and will be completely and utterly shocked about. We need protection from that. So we have to trust God and have faith over fear and gird up that faith even more, even when we don't feel like having faith, because I know Hebrews 11:1 says faith is the substance of things hoped for and it's the evidence of things not seen. So even though we may not see how it's going to work, we got to trust that it's going to work because God specializes in what's impossible to us. He makes us possible and then he gets the glory out of it. And so we got to trust that. Ira?
For me, it's Just what you guys said, I couldn't have said it better, but just adding balance to all things, not too high, not too low, taking it one day at a time, one step at a time as you walk through tough situations, but just balance in all things, and finances and diet and time that you spend on certain things, balancing out your priorities with your children, making sure you're taking care of your family, and just creating, at the end of the day, coming home to a place of peace and joy and tranquility. Just trying to make your home just a place where you can go when it's chaotic. You can come home and get you a deep breath and gird up for the next day. So I've been really reflecting on finding balance in all things that you do. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I think that's a good point to end the show on. I mean, we had some good discussions tonight. I want to thank you, Ira, for being the guest co-host tonight, man. We really enjoyed you. I know Q, I'm talking for Q too. I'm sure he did. Yeah, we enjoyed you, man. And so we will have you on again. Thank you very much. And we have some other fellas on as well as the time goes. But we thank you for joining us today, man. Q, always, man. Love you, brother. I'm glad you were able to get up here and we have a discussion. And next month is a new show. So thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next time on Locked In. Peace.